This is a response video to a video created by a fellow YouTuber by the name of Matthew Santoro. And Matthew put up a video last week, then immediately took it down, called My Abuse Story. I watched a re upload of the video, and then I reached out to Matt and said that video made me feel a lot better about some of the things that happened to me. And because I had done that and many other people had done that, Matthew decided to put that video up again. I'll talk about it here. You may have seen it, you may not. I will link it down below. And in this video, Matthew explains that he was the victim of physical, mental, and domestic abuse at the hands of somebody he cared about. And as an abuse victim, I immediately wanted to respond to that video. Like, I immediately wanted to make a video in support of Matthew and to talk about the things that had happened to me. But as Matthew says in that video, being the victim of abuse at the hands of someone you love and someone that you trust is very embarrassing. It's very painful. It makes you feel alone and isolated and ashamed and scared to talk about it. And I've always been scared to talk about this. It's especially true when you're a man who's received abuse at the hands of a woman, or in my case, women. Because men are taught that we're supposed to be tough. In my day, because I'm much older than Matthew, in my day, we were taught that we were supposed to be tougher than any woman, which is quite obviously absurd. But that was the perception, especially in my small southern hometown. No woman I've ever dated, except one really, has been that much of a winner. I mean, look at me. I certainly attract, for the most part, a certain type of woman, I guess. Except one. And when I found the good one, I put a ring on it as quick as she let me. We've been dating for 5 years, and she's the love of my life, and no one has ever treated me the way she's treated me. Not any person has loved me the way that she's supposed to love me. But that leading up to her was not the case. And one of the women I dated had manipulated me and convinced me that I was going to be one of the fattest men in the world, that I was going to be bedridden, and that she was going to feed me to death for her own sexual gratification. Hard to admit that. She exploited my depression and my suicidal tendencies, and I was right along with her. But that ended. And the biggest abuser I endured was at the hands, the most abuse I endured was at the hands of my mother. And I've always wanted to talk about that, like really talk about it. I've turned on this camera maybe a dozen times since YouTube came into my life, and I've talked about it, and I've never had the bravery to upload the video. Because I think about what people are going to think or what people are going to say. Will I be perceived as weak? Will I be made fun of? Will people even believe me? What about the people back home who never knew my mother that way? Will they call me a liar? But man, we grow up in a society here in the United States and many first countries in the world where Women are never violent, women are never abusive, women are never cruel. But it's not the case. Women can be just as violent. Statistically speaking, no. I know men are more violent, but I was abused not once a month, not once a week, but physically every day, sometimes with a small gap in between of a day. I was cut. I was burnt with cigarettes. I was stabbed. I was thrown. I was picked up and thrown. I once jumped out of a moving car to keep my mother from clawing up my face to try to protect my left eye. I did that in front of my entire school. There were kids gathering at my school for a field trip. They all saw it. I don't know why they didn't intervene. I'll never to this day understand why my principals, why my teachers, why the people in that small town I grew up in did not intervene. I'll never understand that. They had to know. I was going to school with cuts and burns and bruises. They had to know. My mom told me that she had me to get it right because she'd fucked up my brother and she fucked up my sister. But me, I was the one that she was supposed to do it right, do it the way it was supposed to do. Mom did not. She definitely did not succeed at that. She revisited everything she ever did to my brother and my sister tenfold. Steven's sitting here thinking about that stuff. So many stories I want to tell, and even now I'm ashamed to tell them. My sister got taken out of her home because of the abuse she received. She was, I think, 13 or 14. They left me there for some reason. I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that. Not that the foster care system my sister went into was any better. Not that she didn't get beaten and destroyed there either. But god damn it, someone should have fucking helped. You know? And it fucks you up for life. Like, that stuff never goes away. It gets better. It never goes away. I'm sitting here, a 41-year-old man with PTSD and an anxiety disorder and a 500-pound body where I tried to eat myself to death to cope with it, man. And and it fucking eats you up inside. Like, it just 2-3 dozen times a day I think about it. I see something on television that reminds me. I see something in a book or read in a YouTube video or in a game. I hear a loud noise and I react and I think about it and I'm still there. I'm still that same teenage boy getting the living shit beat out of him. She hit me with a hammer once. I still have the scar where she split my skull right at the hairline. She beat down my bedroom door with a hammer and then hit me in the head with it. And I did everything I could to cope with that my whole life. I've eaten myself into an early grave. I attempted suicide at 15. I attempted it again later in life. Women abuse people too. Women abuse men. When a man comes to you and says that I've been abused by a woman, believe them. Hear them and believe them, because I can tell you it happens. I'm living proof. And if you have been abused, I'll tell you, nothing I did helped. Except one thing. And that's talking about it. Talking to therapists, talking to family, talking to friends, finding someone out there that will believe me. And the other thing that helps is hearing other people's stories. Hearing Matt's story validated so much of the pain that has been inside of me my whole life. And so I wanted to make this video to thank you, Matt. Because knowing that not only I have a friend in you, but to know that you're a survivor of this shit as well, makes me love you all the more, buddy. So, thank you. I gotta go.